Hello everybody, this is Evan. We're going to do our fall 2015 LMS Showdown, taking a look at building a common course in different learning management systems. First one we're going to look at here is Moodle, and we're looking at the K-12 Online statewide server. I have a course here already set up. Presentation Zen is the title of my course I'm going to be creating. If you haven't seen Moodle before, this is the very typical layout. The content is listed here, and then on the side they have what are called blocks. If I turn the editing on, it allows me to go and edit, and I can move, rearrange, actually go to one column. It gives me more space if I'd like. So it allows you a lot of customization. The blocks over here do different things, like list of people in the course, the different activity types, the administration block, and this will have different features depending on your role. If you are a student, all that you would see under course administration is like grades, for example. Navigation, calendar, latest news, other items. There are many different types of blocks you can also add to your course if you'd like as well. And then the content goes here. The content goes here, and you can see we've got different units that are listed. One thing that Moodle will allow you to do is it'll allow you to put your units in a scrolling one-page format, but you can also put them in 4 tabs. Let's just take a look at that. Settings, go under course format, and the tabs is called one topic. And there you go. Move these back here. All right, and there you go. So when you have a course in Moodle, Moodle will allow you to go and add in a lot of different features, just like any learning management system. First thing we're going to do is we want to go and put a header for our unit. I'm just really going to build one unit in my course, so I want to put a header. It's going to be some directions, and I also want to put a picture and a link in if I can. So I'm going to go ahead and click this to edit the summary for this unit. You can rename it, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. Call this the welcome unit. And I do have the text I'm going to use already identified for here. I'll go ahead and pull that. Put that in. When you have your text, they have what is WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get editor here. And you're allowed to go and set the heading size. You can make things bold, italics, or underline. You can also go in and make a link if you'd like. Go ahead and set this as a link. Actually, I'll link out to a website. Okay. And then you can also put in an image. So anytime you see this editor, you can put in both a link or an image. Image is right here. And Moodle allows you to go and upload images or to place them right in. I'm going to go ahead and show you the upload of the image first. We'll look at the drag and drop later on in a second. So if I'm going to go upload a file, and I think I have it on my desktop. There it is. Great. I'm going to go ahead and save the changes. So now we have our header in there, and again you can put those in to any of your topics, each topic, which is Moodle's term for a unit, each one has a space where you can put in your header. All right. Next item I want to put in is I want to put in a video. And Moodle allows you to not only put the video in the header, the embedded header, but you can actually put it in a lot of different places and then move it around if you'd like. They call that a label. I'm going to go down and I'm going to add this. And our other LMSs, this is not quite as easy to do to move things around, but Moodle makes it pretty easy. All a label is just like your header was. It's just a place where you could go in and you put in text. You have the same WYSIWYG editor, so you can put in image, you can put in your links, all those things. There's also a button for embedding, and this works pretty well. Just click here, and then I'm going to go back to my source document. I'm going to grab that embedded video, go back here, insert it in. I'll save. All right, now you see how you've got it here. Once you put something in, you can actually drag it up and down if you'd like. The header will always stay at the top, but you can move these things up or down. I'll talk more about this news forum here in a little bit. All right, next item I want to add in is I want to add in a lesson. I've got a lesson that I've created for this unit. It kind of introduces it. And the lesson is actually a link. So, but I don't want it to, what I could do, I'm going to back out for a second. What I could do is I could create another label and I could put in my text and then I could link it like I did. But you can put in a link directly. And I'm going to do that as well. It's right here. Click add. I can go in, I can put in a description for the link, and I can have that appear if I wanted to give some more information. That's where I put in the link. And then I can set whether I want that to display in an embed, a pop-up, open up in a new tab, whatever the case is. I'll go ahead and leave that as is. And I'm going to go back to my course. And there's my link. That brings up the lesson that I've created for this. Okay, so we've taken a look at adding in headers and text with images and links, embedding in videos, and now adding in just a straight link out to another resource. All right, next thing I'm going to do is I want to add in a page. So I want something where I click off of here and it goes to another page in the course. When I do this, I'm going to put in another video, another embedded video, but I want to put in some text above that. So it's a little different here just in the fact that I'm going to click and go to a new page. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click on page, click add. In learning management systems, we'll call their things different items, what they call link or URL as an example. So this is another video. I'm actually going to go get the text for it first. And let's start, got a header. Go ahead and put that in the name for it. And I said I was going to embed the video. If you're used to using HTML, you'll see that this is the source code for all the HTML. Just going to go ahead and embed that code there. And just as before, I can go in, I've got some other settings that I can control. I'm all good with that. I'm going to go ahead and save it. And there we go. Now, It's created, it already puts in the header, so I actually want to take that other header out and go back in. Hit those page settings. Just take that out and we'll save it. There we go. Now when I go back to my course homepage, you can see that's been added into. All right. Next item is we're going to add in a document. And I have a document over here. It happens to be a book by the author, a little ebook. That's open source. It's in PDF form. I can take that, and as you can see, I can drag that in. It's drag and drop. And once I put it in, the title of the document is what will appear. If I don't like that title, I can go ahead and edit it. And I need to hit enter when I'm finished. There we go. You can do that with any file type you'd like. So if you had a PowerPoint, you want to bring that in there. If you had a Word document, you can bring that in there. Note that only things that are native, like a PDF, will actually display within the browser. Other things will download when you would click on them. And that's typical for anything on the internet. You can also do that with images as well. So if I have an image like this one, the book that we're looking at, I drag it in. It adds, before it puts it in there, it says, what do you want to do with this? Do you want it just to appear, or do you want to create a resource? That would be kind of like this PDF where if I click on the link, then that image would show up. You might think, why would you have it so that you click on a link to make an image show up? Well, if you have a bigger image, such as like a large flowchart or a diagram or some sort of graphic organizer that you don't want to take up a whole lot of space within your unit, but you still want people to go and access, you might make it a resource. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it as a regular image. Click upload, and it will add it in there. Okay. And once again, I can go in and move things around if I'd like. Put that there or not. Not only can you move things up and down, but you can also, try that again. You can also move them to the right if you want to get and kind of lay out your course a little bit. You can do that as well. Okay. All right, the next item I want to add in a Google file. And I have a syllabus created for this mini course. And it is in my Google Docs area. So, do that. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add in a resource, a file. And this is a way you could add in your PDF if you'd like. Your PowerPoint is kind of the longer way of doing that, but I'm going to go down here, and this is, I could drag and drop it into here, but this is on Google, so I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to click here. And we saw earlier how we went and grabbed an image by uploading it, but you can also go to one of the different repositories. Moodle allows you to use many, many different repositories. Some can be personal, like Google Drive or Dropbox. Some can be public, like Wikimedia. We have only turned on K-12 Online just a few of them, but there's actually much more that you can turn on. As we add different repositories to different sites like Khan Academy and such, those things will also appear down here as well. If I click on Google Drive, it's going to ask me to log in to my account. And I have done that. And I can search for it. And here you can see if I had a PowerPoint, I could add that, but I am going to add this one. Save and display. Okay, and so now when people come in and they click on the syllabus, it'll go ahead, and in this case it downloads it. Now if you want to, if you've used Google Drive before, if you want it to go and display as is, you can always do, I missed that. Click on shareable link there, sorry about that. I could go and I could grab the link for it. And have that in as a link. Okay, so in that case, instead of downloading that file that you've created, it would appear within the Google Drive. If you shared it with students and given them editing power, they could go in and edit that file as well. Okay, so there you can see how the basics go for structuring your the content in your unit. You can create as many labels as you'd like, so if you want to put a label in here above syllabi and say syllabi, and then list those below, you can do that. All right, let's take a look at some of the more advanced features. And I'm going to go ahead and get to this window again. You've seen me open this up a couple of times now. And these are all the different activities or resources that you can add into Moodle. One of the things that you will note about Moodle versus other learning management systems is there's more features, and there are a lot of features, and these features continue to grow. That's because Moodle is open source, allowing anybody to go in and build in their own tools, and once a person builds their own tools, they'll share that back to the community so others can use their tools that they built. And that's one of the really nice things about it. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There's over 1,000 different modules, whether they're different blocks or different activity types or whatever the case is within Moodle. We'll look at some of the extra ones at the end, but we're going to stick to the basics right now. We're going to add in a forum. Click Add. A forum is a way where students can have a conversation with others, and you can structure this in different ways within Moodle. Moodle has different types of forums, and one can be where you just have one threaded discussion, everything's in one spot. One is where you have a prompt and each person can then add a post down below, and then each of those becomes its own thread. One is a Q&A forum where you pose a question first and students can't see the answers until they make an answer first, and they can see what others have said. And so forth. I'm going to go ahead and use just the general forum here and go back to our source document. Going to there. One thing about the editor that's really nice is you can go and expand it too, so you can see it full screen. And once I do that, I can go upload that image. And let's use this one. Now anytime you add an activity within Moodle, you get more controls and settings than you do for just plain resources. You can go in, you can limit an attachment size. Forums allow a student to not only post, but they can attach a document. You can also decide whether you're going to display the word count or not. You have subscription, which what it'll do is it will send out an email every time a new forum post is created within this forum. And you can have that be an option, you can have it be automatically done, you can have it denied. There's lots of different options to that. And then tracking will, if you enable tracking, then within Moodle it'll tell you as you're in there how many posts that you have read or have not read. It gives you a little notification there. So subscription is off of Moodle through email, and retracking is on that. And there's lots of other things here. You can restrict when a post is made. You can set grades for it. We haven't talked about our grade book yet. You can set up grade books for that. There's different ways you can go in. Ratings are the points for a particular forum, and you can have that be so that it's a sum of the ratings, or the maximum, or the average, whatever the case is. Once I do set a rating, I can set how many points this would be worth and such. I'm going to go ahead and post that back in our course. So forums look like this. If I click on it, that forum will come up, and here's where I can go in and add in and then that'll appear down below. If you click on this, the threaded forum would come up, and then people will have the ability to go and reply. You as a teacher can go in and edit and delete your students' work. All right, next item that's important for teachers to know is how to do assignments. Try that again. Okay, now I went a little too fast there. I want to go and edit this item. So I'm going to go back and edit my settings for it. And again, I can go in and set a due date for it. I can even set a cutoff date, which would preclude people from adding in things. Assignments have different types of submissions, and I can have it be a file submission. I can have it be a text submission, which they would get a little editor where they would type up their answers. I can even have it be what is called a Moodle submission. This is where they would go and they would record their voice. And there's some others. You can submit a PDF or YouTube as well. Then the feedback types, these are the feedback that the instructor can give to the student. And you can add in comments or files or those type of things. You can also comment in line too, so if they are typing their answer, this was a file submission, but if it was an online text, you could actually type in your responses right within there as you'd like. There are some submission settings, some group submission settings. We haven't talked about groups, but all of the features, including the forums, quizzes, and such, can all be group specific. Then under grade, here you can go in, you can change how many points this is worth. You can make it simple grading, or you can make it a rubric. The rubric is one of the best features of Moodle, and I've really liked the way that they build rubrics. It's very easy to create, and it's easy to use too. Again, if you have your gradebook set up for categories, you can identify the category. Lots of different grading features within there. All right, so we've added an assignment. Student comes in, they could read the assignment, and then they could come down here and click Add a Submission. And it'll give them details on their submission of when they've added it and if the comments have been added for them. All right. Next item is we're going to add a quiz. Moodle has probably the most powerful quiz within the learning management system setup. It's really one of the best uses of it. So if you are going to use a learning management system for formative assessment and have students kind of check their own understanding with quizzes, you're really going to like the different features. Not only the question types that they have, but also the analytics and all the different features. Because there's so many features, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So we're going to run through a really quick, bare bones type of quiz, but understand there's a lot more that's available that we have within our professional development lessons that you can check out. All right, so I'm going to go back to my source document. And within the general settings, I can go in, I can say when the quiz is open, what the time limit is, that type of thing. Grade, again, get my autofill on, so automatically putting my name into different things. Leave that blank, unlimited choices. We actually set the number of points here on the next screen with it. I can edit the layout, say how many, when you create a new page. You can go in, you can have questions shuffle. You can also go and control whether a question looks to the first one for an answer before it determines which question to add to the second one, an adaptive mode type of thing. You can also add in lots of different feedback options. So you can give the student immediate feedback based on their answer, feedback after they have submitted their mark, while it's still open, and after you've closed the quiz so no other people can attempt it. And then you can see what type of feedback, whether it's correct or not, how many points they got, and then on down the road. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save and display that. Now, ready to go and edit the quiz and add some items to it. And the way learning management systems work is you usually create the quiz and then you create the questions within it. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a question. And I could draw from a question bank or a random question, but those are things that I would do if I've already created a bunch of questions to begin with. So I haven't created any questions. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I mentioned there's lots of different question types within Moodle. This is a lot more than you'll see in other programs. The basic ones are usually up at the top, and some of the more advanced ones are down below. And you can get it so that students record their voice. You can have it so students drag and drop matching, lots of different items in there. I'm going to go ahead and start, I think, with a multiple choice. Now Moodle allows you to go and add in partial points if you'd like. And then again, you can type in the feedback for the answer. You can type it in for any specific answer that they gave. You can also give kind of general feedback. You can say whether you want to give multiple choice or such. Okay, add in another one. And this time, I'm going to do a multiple answer one. Alright, now for this one, we'll just say that these three here are the ones that are correct. Again, I can go in, I can give multiple feedback or what have you, and I can shuffle the choices. I'll just go ahead and click Save. Now, if I want these to be on the same page of the quiz, I can do that. Move that up. Let's add one more type. And again, you can go in and put in a picture, a link, whatever you like, within your questions. So you can make them pretty interactive. You can embed a video and tell them to watch the video and then answer the question based on that if you'd like to. All right, now you can go in here and you can change the number of points. Right now each point is worth, each question is worth 1. The whole thing is worth 10, so it'll scale them as you go. You can, if you want this one to be worth 2 times as much as this one, you can make that 2. And then again, it'll weight it so that it would be worth 10 points. All right, if we go down to our quiz, and we can attempt it. Blank. Oh, I had a password set on that. I think that was for my autofill. And so here's the quiz. Go in, try it out. You can see that it'll show you whether you've finished the questions or not. Up here you can flag them. That allows you to come back to them later if you'd like. As a teacher, I can go in right here and edit the question. Oh, that's not quite right. I want to go and change that. I can do that. All right, so those are the basics for creating the unit. I can still go in and I can identify things a little bit, can move them around. I might put in a label that says assignments over the top of those things so that it kind of helps them stand apart. You note as you add things into your course with due dates, they'll appear within a calendar over here. You can also create manual items on your calendar. Of course, you can embed in a Google Calendar or whatever you'd like, and that's going to be a common feature with all our learning management systems. So, all right, let's go and have a student go into this, and we're going to go to this page. Google will allow you to Moodle will allow you to log in with your Google account. And we are going to do that. And then we're going to go to the course, and that course is number 3570, instead of having to navigate for it. And oh, it says I can't enroll it because I haven't set it up open to be enrolled yet. Moodle will allow you different, what they call enrollment methods. And enrollment methods is how they allow students to come in. You can have it be manual, so I can go in and add students myself. You can click on here and identify the students and add them in. You can also have a guest access, so they don't even have to have an account to get into the system. If they're in via a guest, they will not be able to participate in it. In other words, create forum posts, complete quizzes, but they'll be able to look at things. I'm going to go ahead and turn on self-enrollment. This allows students to go in, do it themselves. You can go and add in an enrollment key. And I'm going to take that off right now. And now I'm in the course. Okay. I can go in, I can participate with the forum. I can attach a document like I did before. Oh, that's too big. Let's try a smaller one. I can go in and submit an assignment. This is another file submission, so I'm going to go ahead and do that same process I did before. Again, if I want to, oops, actually let's do this. Let's delete that, and then let's go ahead and add in a file from my Google Drive folder. And let's see, we're in as the instructor. So you can see how you can add in things from your own Google folder really easily. And then finally, we'll go take that quiz. Not attempting to get these correct here, but we're just trying it out. So I'm done. I could review, I could submit all. Yeah, I do want to do that. And then it'll tell me if I got them right. I did pretty good for guessing. A lot of different review features on here. All right, now let's take a look at what this will look like then for the teacher in the course. First thing is if you're tracking, it'll go ahead and tell you if there's posts that have been made. You can go in and take a look at those. With assignments, come in here and it'll tell me, for example, if I have something that has been submitted. I can grade right from within here and give the points. I can also do, I can edit it this way, bring it up here, give the points, give feedback. We talked about this Moodle feature. This is one of the better features within Moodle. You can go in and you can record your voice. Just click there, and then it'll record it. I'm going to go ahead and add in the points here. I could say whether I want to notify the student or not. I'm going to say no in this case, but usually I would say yes. And then with the quiz, you can go in here and you can see the attempts that have been made on the quiz. You can see what they answered. Actually, here's the quiz attempt. This would be the averages for them, how long it took, when they were in, lots of different features. Then they give information on the grade. This is just the tip of the iceberg. You can go and regrade them all. If you set things up so that they were manually graded, you could do that. You could download the information if you would like. You can also see the information of people who are in progress, who never submitted it, that type of thing as well. Okay. All right, so next thing we're going to take a look at then is the gradebook. So here, the gradebook, I only have one student, so it's a little misleading. I can go and I can look at that student's grades myself, just one by one if I want. Or they would all be listed here, and I can see the different scores as they come in. I can actually grade straight from here too. Within the gradebook, I can click here and I could type in the numbers here as well. I said you could go and you can set up that grader, the gradebook. Do so by coming down to categories and items. Here you can go in and put in different categories. So I could say introductory unit, put the things in for that. You can add in weights. There's lots of different measures for how you would go and calculate a different category or the whole course. You can use the mean, you can use the median, you can use natural, which is just straight points, whatever the case is. You can also add in additional grade items. So if there's something that you want to put into the gradebook that Moodle is not going to really track, so it's not an assignment in Moodle or such, maybe it's something that you're doing off-site or what have you, and you just want to give them points for it, you can do that as well. Just click add a grade item. And then you can set the name, the score, and such. And then finally, an advanced feature of Moodle is that it connects to outcomes as well. We're going to take a look at that, but a lot of learning management systems will connect to specific outcomes or standards that you've set up, and then you can do standard-based grading that way. All right, a few other things I want to show you. One is I want to show you how you can communicate with students. And there's a couple ways to do that. One is you can communicate to all students. One of the easiest ways to do that is through the news forum. The news forum is the announcement forum within Moodle. It's an automatically set up. It's the only thing that will appear in your blank course when you started. You probably saw it in there when we first started. I can click add a new topic and I can make a post. And when I do, that announcement and again, it's WYSIWYG, so I can go in and put in a picture, I can put in a video, I can put in links, I can put in a recording, I can record my voice, put that in as well. Now, by adding the announcement, that'll automatically send out an email with that information out to all my students. All students are automatically subscribed to this, so they'll get an email for that. You can also see the announcements within the news forum. Students will go and click on that. Plus, there's a block that'll say latest news, and it'll list the latest announcements as they come in. Typically, now it goes up to about 5 total. And then, but you can actually change the setting of how many display. You can also go in and visit with students themselves. Go ahead, click here. And then if I wanted to send a message to the student, I could do that. There's lots of ways to go and send messages back and forth. Just a quick message. And what will happen is it's basically kind of like, it's messaging. It's like inter Moodle email. Not only will they get the message up here, but they'll also get an email if they have their personal settings set to receive emails for them. All right, so let's take a look at some of the more advanced features within Moodle. First off, Moodle has a very advanced level of reports. You can go in and you can find out who has done what within your presentation or within your course, what they've accessed. The logs will tell you everything that they've accessed. The activity reports will actually make it by module. Again, it'll say who has viewed it and when that they viewed it. If I go in by participant, I can see by each individual person what they've seen, what they've posted. This is great if they have a forum with many threads. You can see all of their posts in one spot. I mentioned that there were lots of different features within the system. A couple that are really beneficial. One is the checklist. This will go and create a checklist for anything that you'd like to use. And you can actually set up the checklist so that the students complete it, or that the teacher completes it, or that it's even manually completed by Moodle. You can make that worth points. A lot of times if you have a project set up and you've got a lot of different resources listed here that you want them to click on and use as part of the project, maybe like let's say where they're writing an essay, you've got a lot of different steps. The checklist can kind of break down that project into those steps. Another popular one is the glossary. You can go in and create a glossary within Moodle, put it in your terms, and students can contribute glossary items to that as well. There are things like the questionnaire survey or the lesson, which are pretty advanced. You can go in and have a lot of different pages put together and strung together in a set sequence. There's journals you can use and so forth. The other thing too that Moodle has that I think is really important to know, in addition to what we've seen so far, is you can go in and you can enable completion tracking. When you do so, each individual item you can go in and now you'll see an area that says completion, activity completion under completion tracking. You can have the students mark when they've completed it, or you can say when certain activities have been met. So students have to view it, and they must, let's say they've got to actually make a post, one post. And now that we've done that, if we take a look at it, we see a little box here, and a check mark, since I have already posted as a teacher, and it's checked. If I go in as that student, let's see here, not checked because I haven't created my initial post, I've only made a reply. If I go and make a post, it will now be checked. In addition to that, if I were to go in, for example, to this assignment and edit this, not only do I now have the activity completion in here, but I can also restrict access. And I can add in this based on activity completion. So you've got to finish the forum before you take this, before you can do this assignment. I can do it by date, I can do it by grade. You got to have a certain grade in order for this to be open for you. There are lots of different things you can go and set for restriction. And finally, you can also go in and add groups within here. Right now, you can go in and set things to separate groups or visible groups. If it's separate groups, that means that you cannot see the other group's work. If it's visible, you can see it, but you can't participate with it. And of course, Moodle will let you go and set up your groups. You can set them up either automatically, you can set them up and let students choose their groups, or you can set them up yourself. And that's a quick look at Moodle's features.